Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Thank you for joining me for another video. Today we're going to be talking about a beginner's guide to low impact living. Now, if you're quite advanced, this might not be the right video for you, but you never know, it could still be helpful. So firstly, I want to say a big announcement that I have been holding in for quite a while, but for the last couple of months I have been working really hard on a low impact living ebook. And I have put so much effort and work into it so that you can have everything all in one place, lots of different things that I haven't mentioned before, and yeah, it's just going to be super inclusive of everything you need to know about low impact living, plant-based eating, minimalism, all that fun stuff, lowering your waste, and generally just being quite helpful. So this video is kind of like the first in the series of helping you guys become as low impact as you want. And the ebook is going to be coming out in December. The date is still to be confirmed because it's taking a lot longer than I thought, but that's because I want it to be, perfect, or as good as it possibly can be. So the whole of December I am going to be making a lot of videos about low impact living in different cities. I've already done 3 in US cities, but I'm going to be focusing on the UK in December, and yeah, just more super helpful videos. Anyway, enough about that, so grab a cup of tea and let's get straight into the video. So where to start? When you embark on any kind of new journey or you want to create new habits, it's always tough figuring out where you should start. So what I think you guys should do, which I did when I started my journey and still frequently do now, is save all the waste, the physical waste you create in a week, or if you want to do it longer, for 2 weeks or 3 weeks or even a whole month. And at the end of that month, it's time to kind of analyze that waste and figure out why you're wasting and what you're wasting the most of. Understanding your habits and understanding the ways in which we waste is the best way that we can tackle them head on and actually solve those problems and those issues. Without fully understanding our habits, it is literally impossible to come up with solutions. So doing this kind of little task gives you such a great insight and basically just a massive data set of, what your habits are, where you're wasting, why you're wasting, and yeah, try and tackle those head on. If you haven't watched some of my videos before, I've made a few what I wasted this week videos where I basically, hold on to everything I wasted, and then I go through it at the end of the week and I kind of analyze what went wrong or what went well and how I could improve for next time. This is what I think we should be doing when we are starting these journeys, because again, it's a great insight and a great way of just going through everything and understanding ourselves better. So what to do when you are analyzing? Well, you need to pick out the key things that you're wasting. So are you wasting, when you're particularly tired? Are you wasting crisp packets? Are you wasting pasta packets? Looking at that physical waste and understanding what you're wasting, and also trying to figure out why you're wasting it. So try and figure out the time of day. Is it because you've just been to the gym and you are super hungry and you haven't got a snack with you? Or you're on your way home from work and you haven't got anything at home for dinner, so you pick stuff up? Any of those kinds of things, those are the stuff that you should be noting down and understanding about yourself. From here, this is where we can begin to see where you can reasonably change in what you have available to you. So you need to ask yourself some questions like, do you shop a lot? Do you get a lot of takeaways? Do you eat a lot of sweets? Do you take half-an-hour showers? Or do you simply just buy a disposable coffee cup every single day because you get up a little bit too late to make yourself a coffee, or you haven't got yourself a reusable coffee because you don't really realize how many coffees you are wasting? These are all really great questions that come out of the analysis and figuring out what went wrong. The best thing to do is to choose one habit at a time and choose something that's easy for you to swap. And then for the preceding month, I would try and change one of those habits each week. But again, try not to use something that's too difficult. Go for something easy that's a quick win that can enable you to create bigger changes later down the line on your more kind of like prolonged journey. The second thing, which I think is just as important, is your stage of research. Understanding what is near you and what you have available to you allows you to manage your expectations as to what you can feasibly change in your life. Creating new habits and breaking bad habits are so difficult, and so I have so much respect for all of you out there trying to even make one small change. Doing your research and figuring out what you have available to you is super important. Things you might want to look for are zero waste shops, health food shops, any conventional stores that have a bulk section, any farmers markets, any actual farms that have fresh produce that you can buy, and things like bakeries as well. In health food shops, some of them, especially in London, tend to have refill stations, even if it's just for like a shampoo and conditioner or washing up liquid, etc. So some of these things can be really helpful. Even if it's only one thing that you're able to change, it's still valuable. Accessibility is a massive issue and a massive problem. So you can only expect to change what you have availability to change. So don't get disheartened and don't set yourself up to fail. Manage your expectations of how much you can do with what you have been able to find out through your research. Number 3 is becoming a conscious consumer. Obviously, consuming less is one of the biggest things that you can do to reduce your physical and invisible waste and your drain on resources. But when we do consume, as we do live in a capitalist society and we are still going to be consuming, when you do consume, try and consume smarter. So just simply start questioning the things that you buy. Is it ethical? Do you really need it? Can you possibly buy it secondhand? Will the purchase of this item negatively or positively affect every single person in that supply chain or in that production? Low impact living is not just about reducing your physical waste or your invisible waste. It's also about living an ethical lifestyle. And really questioning the ethics behind the items that we buy is incredibly important. For example, tech. I usually try to buy secondhand tech, mostly because one, I think is incredibly draining on resources, but also it is incredibly unethical to buy parts that go into things like phones and computers, and I don't really want to engage in that and be a part of that. So I simply try to shop secondhand and also try and help companies that are dedicated to being a lot more ethical in their practices and production. Start incorporating minimalist ideals into your kind of value set. You don't want to be thinking about this minimalist aesthetic. You want to be thinking about adding true value to your life through items that have been consciously bought. So it's kind of about being happy with less and happy with the things that you do have, not about creating this kind of aesthetic that you think is going to be, beneficial in some way. When you value everything you buy, it automatically leads you down this path to being a more conscious consumer. You start to ask the questions about where your stuff came from, how long is it going to last, is it well made, who made it, where was it made, and how long did it take to get to me? These are all really wonderful questions that you should be thinking about and will again help you to become a more conscious and smart consumer. Number 4, moving on to kind of some easy first steps that you can take when you are deciding to be low impact. As I said before, consuming less is one of the biggest ways, and hopefully that will allow the accessibility issue to be slightly less troublesome. However, of course, there are some things that we need to buy that you can't avoid. But by simply choosing to shop less, you are having a huge impact. Where food is concerned, try and eat as locally and seasonally as possible, and also try and eat a little bit more plant-based. Eating foods from other countries that have been shipped in, or eating foods from your own country that aren't seasonal and had a lot of energy used to produce them, can be very environmentally damaging. So simply trying to make the best swaps that you possibly can, even if it's just 1 or 2 items, that's great. And that is the first step in being more sustainable in your food choices. The next one is to use your voice. So if you have found out about a lot of things that you think are really important, don't just keep it to yourself. Try and talk to your friends and your family. Use your voice to talk to other people, engage in conversations, and advocate for a more conscious lifestyle. Read and educate yourself. Understanding the wider issues and how things all kind of fit together is really important. And again, it feeds all into this conscious consumerism, and it helps you to understand why things might not be ethical, why things might not be sustainable. This will also help you to feed all of that information into the conversations that you do eventually have with other people as well. And lastly, to shop locally than shopping in chains. So if you're shopping in small stores that are independent, you're far more likely to know the supply chain and therefore how environmentally friendly it is, sustainable and ethical. So try and shop locally in small independent stores rather than massive chains. if of course you have the availability to do so. And the last kind of thing that I want to touch upon as a beginner, this is very much a beginner's journey, is to take care of yourself. If you do not take care of yourself, you can get a lot of what's called kind of compassion depletion, where you have put so much time and energy into it, but because you haven't taken care of yourself, it's very hard for you to kind of go out there and be really positive and ensure that you are projecting a wonderful, compassionate mindset constantly. So you need to practice, some self-care and make sure that you are taking care of your own physical and mental health. Arguably, one of the most important things is community. Try and find even one buddy to try and do this with, or go online and see if you can partake in any local groups, even if it's just online, to try and build some community, because having support from other people is so important. I have a lot of support because I have made the effort to get in contact with a lot of people who are part of this community, not just people who are also online, but also people who are offline but partake in very real activism. And you may even want to come up with a reward scheme. So rewarding yourself every time you make a good change, or after 30 days and you've managed to create that real habit. Giving yourself positive reinforcement can be so beneficial and can also make you feel just so much better about what you're doing. Anyway, I wanted this to be kind of short so that it was a nice, succinct beginner's guide to low impact living. I don't want to bombard you with too much when you're just starting this journey, and I really hope that it was helpful and enjoyable. If you're interested in hearing about the ebook when it does come out, I will put a link in the description where you can basically just sign up to get an email to be notified when it starts. And yeah, I'm going to be running a lot of fun kind of things and stuff, and lots of giveaways around it as well. And I hope that you find it helpful. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. A massive thank you to all my patrons on Patreon. Your support means the world to me, and it is helping me basically keep the Low Impact Movement website running and all that fun stuff. So thank you. Thank you to everyone else who's watching this video. I really appreciate you coming here. So give it a like if you liked it, comment anything you have to say, and yeah, I will see you very, very soon. Thank you very much for watching. Bye.